In the quiet, picturesque town of Willow Creek, nestled among the rolling hills and lush forests, stood a newly built house. It was a grand structure with towering columns and intricate architectural details overlooking a serene lake. The Forrester family, eager to escape the hustle and bustle of city life, had purchased the house as their dream home. As they moved into their new abode, excitement filled the air. Sarah Forrester, a talented interior designer, envisioned endless possibilities for decorating the spacious rooms. Her husband, David, a successful lawyer, looked forward to peaceful weekends spent fishing on the lake with their two children, Emily and Ethan. However, from the moment they set foot inside the house, an eerie feeling lingered in the air. Sarah dismissed it as mere jitters from the move. But as the days passed, strange occurrences began to unfold. Emily complained of hearing whispers in the dead of night, while Ethan claimed to have seen shadows darting across the walls. David brushed off their concerns, chalking it up to overactive imaginations. But then, the nightmares started. Each member of the family was plagued by vivid, terrifying dreams of being chased through the corridors of the house by unseen entities. They woke up in cold sweats, unable to shake the feeling of dread that hung over them like a dark cloud. Sarah's once vibrant creativity wilted in the oppressive atmosphere of the house. She found herself unable to focus, her mind clouded by an overwhelming sense of unease. David's work suffered too, as he struggled to concentrate on his cases, haunted by the disturbing visions that tormented his family. Desperate for answers, the Forresters sought the help of a local historian, hoping to uncover any dark secrets hidden within the walls of their new home. What they discovered sent shivers down their spines. The land upon which their house stood was once inhabited by the indigenous Shawnee tribe, who had been forcibly driven from their ancestral home by early settlers. Legend had it that the spirits of the Shawnee warriors still roamed the land, seeking vengeance for the injustices done to their people. Determined to rid their home of the malevolent forces that plagued them, the Forresters enlisted the help of a team of paranormal investigators. Armed with an array of high-tech gadgets, they embarked on a journey to unravel the mystery of the haunted house. As they delved deeper into the history of the property, they uncovered a hidden chamber beneath the house, filled with ancient artifacts and ceremonial relics. It became clear that the restless spirits of the Shawnee warriors were seeking to reclaim what was rightfully theirs. With the help of a shaman, the Forresters performed a cleansing ritual, appeasing the angry spirits and restoring peace to the land. As the last echoes of the ritual faded into the night, a sense of calm descended upon the house, and the nightmares ceased. The Forresters breathed a sigh of relief as they watched the sunrise over the tranquil waters of the lake. Though their ordeal had been harrowing, they emerged stronger and closer as a family, ready to embrace the new chapter of their lives in their now haunt-free home. This happened about 2 years ago when I was 19, and I had just moved out of student accommodation into an actual flat with my friend group of 6. we moved in, it was just me and one of the girls I'm close with. Let's call her Lucy. I had my boyfriend over at the time, and we'll call him Alec. The other people who were moving in 2 weeks later, as they were all on various holidays or visiting home. So, it was just the three of us. Lucy was in her room, and Alec and I were smoking a joint in bed, watching kung fu movies. And I started to notice a man, at least 300 lb and 6 gua tall, pacing outside of our window and looking in occasionally. We were on the basement floor at this time, but the windows are on ground level. Okay, so that's weird, but we'll just make sure the windows are locked. 20 or so minutes pass, and everything seems okay until Lucy runs into my room and says, "Babe, there's a man in the house." We must have left the door unlocked by accident, so now I'm feeling chills. I'm like, "What the hell do you mean there's a man in the house?" And Alec is frozen solid. Me and Lucy go into the hall, and the huge man who we saw looking in the windows is standing there in our hall. We ask, "What are you doing here?" And he pulls out his phone and shows us a text message from an unsaved number with our address written on it and something about people being inside. He told us that he was looking for his girlfriend and that she lives here. We're like, "No, the hell she does not. So please remove yourself from our house." He says, "Okay," and that he'll phone his girlfriend. He turns his phone to low volume, and he's speaking to another man on the phone who was clearly not his girlfriend, with more urgency this time. We tell him to get out of our house, and he says, "Okay." He finally leaves, and we lock the door. By this point, everyone is shaking. He's still on the phone with this man outside, and they are speaking a language we don't understand, but we can hear him getting angry. I tell Alec to please make the scary man go away, and he goes outside and tells him to shift away from our doorway as he's really scaring us. He says, "Okay," and that his taxi is here. He walks up a dead-end street where no taxis were, though. We told our upstairs neighbors, who we had met earlier that day, about the whole ordeal. We'll call them Charlotte, Matt, and Rob. They informed us that the same man had tried to come in their house, insisting his girlfriend lived there. Charlotte already had a boyfriend who we knew of and had also met that day. And Rob has more balls than all of us and threatened him with a knife the time he came into their house, and he never bothered them again. Over the next couple of weeks, the man would occasionally come back and look in our bedroom windows, and Alec was there most times. I'm really glad for that. I have no doubt he tried the door again, but it was always locked after that. The story actually happened to me when I was still living with my parents about 3 years ago. We moved to this new house at the end of 2019, right before the lockdown, and multiple things happened. One night, around 7:00 p.m., my mom and I were going home from school. It's about a 20-minute ride. My mom has this weird habit of always checking who was behind us. That night, she noticed that this car had been there for a few minutes already. To be sure that we weren't paranoid, we slowed down and made 2 rounds in a roundabout. But they ended up cutting us off at full speed on the small road going to our house, which wasn't a really busy road usually. but we assumed that we were at the wrong place at the wrong time. Fast forward to the lockdown. At first, everything was going well, and we collectively decided to forget about it. We were in May, so 2 months after the lockdown started, and almost at the end of it. My sister was downstairs around 3 a.m., just hanging out in the living room. Just to give context, my house has lots of doors and windows. In the living room, she noticed one of the doors slightly opening and assumed that someone forgot to close it and that the wind was blowing. But when she tried to push it to lock it, she felt like someone was putting their weight on it to open. So she screamed as loud as she could and ran upstairs to my parents. They went into the backyard to check if anyone was there, and they didn't see anyone. So we just let it be a one-time thing. But my mom wasn't reassured, so she started to stay in the living room during the night to see if anything would happen. During the next few weeks, nothing happened, and she asked me multiple times to stay with her, just to be her witness in case anything ever happened. Around 1 a.m., we were lying on the couch, but the lights were off because I had a headache, and my mom was just scrolling through her phone. We saw a blinding light directed to our living room, which spooked me so much that I was completely paralyzed. My parents went into the backyard, and still nothing. After that, we saw multiple lights and heard strange noises, and on the surveillance camera, there were weird people at our gate, staring directly at our house. But as that's not very illegal, we couldn't do anything. This continued for a few months, and it was driving my family insane. In 2021, while we were cleaning the backyard for summer, we saw a big hole in the bushes, large enough to allow someone to go through. We didn't know what to do, but we had confirmed that someone was coming onto our property. Almost nothing happened after that, which made us believe that they knew we were onto them. But we still don't have a clue about who it was and why they were doing that, or even if they wanted to do something bad.